I got a question for all of my black parents out there. Are we fucking up? Are we doing it wrong? Are we teaching fear? So if we look at a lot of black kids today, from the most kids that I know personally, a lot of them are afraid to explore outside of the norm. You know? Like they're afraid to do something different. There's a huge pride on discipline, on a type of discipline. But is that discipline thought through? I don't think we're instilling physical fear of people in. It's almost like a fear of life, like a fear of authority. Are we instilling a certain fear to where not just your police officer, any person of authority? Because I know even for myself, it was a point where I got into the workforce, the regular 9 to 5, getting those board meetings, and now it's about brain on brain. And when you have all these other different authority figures in front of you, it takes a lot. You know, it's a different type of courage. We might not necessarily instill that. We might take that from them. Is there a gray area? You know, I mean, is there a gray area? We can't ignore the climate of the day. You know, so there is already a climate of fear amongst our people. And there's a climate of anger amongst our people. You can kind of see who has that fear, who doesn't have that fear, that's ready to take on new challenges, that's open-minded, you know? Are we letting our kids be open-minded? Are we open-minded? And if we're not, is that even possible for your child to be open-minded? Put in a position where they're responsible for something. That's a whole different type of discipline. But in the military, I learned the most discipline I've ever learned in my life. And no one ever touched me. I was ready for it too. As soon as I got off the bus, I'm like, all right, first person, first drill sergeant or soldier that comes slick, we gonna get it. We gonna get it. You know what I mean? That's how I go. I respect you, but we gonna get it because I gotta claim mine. Because that's the mentality that I grew up on. You know, because my plans, just like most black kids, was high school, get some money till I get caught, go to prison. And I know when I get in prison, I got to make my presence felt. You see what I'm saying? So I took that same mentality to the military. Yo, when I got off the bus, though, you had to drag all your bags up this hill and stuff like that. So I just heard somebody yelling at me. But I couldn't see, you know, I ain't see nobody. And I looked down. When I tell you, the shortest man I've ever seen in my life looking straight up at me. I mean, it made me get down. You know what I'm saying? Because first thing I started to do was to laugh. I mean, you know he's short. So he made me do some push-ups. And then it got worse because every time I pushed up, I'm thinking like, yo, I'm almost to Duke height while I'm in the push-up position. So I couldn't stop laughing. Like when I tell you that was a long day, my arms was dead. But never touched me. But the discipline kind of came more from having to get up at a certain time, having to get everything in order, be ready, be inspected, you know, kind of having that lockstep all the way through the whole basic training. So then once you got out of basic training, now you're talking about, a few months of training changed my life as a person for my whole, you know, up until now at 35. But that type of discipline, when we talk about military discipline, even I know for some of y'all who's never been in the military, having a military discipline and stuff like that, you think of hardcore. You think of harsh. That's what comes to most people's mind, something harsh. But that's not even the case. It's consistency. You know what I mean? I think the biggest fail I had for a number of years as a parent was parenting from the bedroom. What that means, or parenting from the couch, means, you know, you do that, hey, what y'all doing? You know what I mean? You get your kids with that, what y'all doing? That was a failure. You gotta get up, you gotta go in their room. So that's why I say there's a gray area. You can have your privacy, you know, but this is still my house. I'll still come in. I'll keep your door closed, have your privacy, you know. But I'm going to come in and I'm going to check on you, you know. I'm going to come in and I'm going to look at your drawers. I'm not just going to ask you, is your drawers done? Is your floor clean? Is your room done? That was a big fail that I had as a parent. And then, of course, you go in there, and them drawers ain't clean, and that room ain't done. But that's discipline. And so now the steps you take after that, I personally, I believe in spanking. I believe you do have to draw that line in the sand. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have some type of deterrent, but it doesn't mean that's the first thing that you have to do. I mean, once you draw that line, and like, yo, but would get whooped. So you can't talk back, even though my mother raised me, yes, sir, no, ma'am, all that good stuff. My mother let me express myself, and we had conversations, you know what I mean? Deep conversations. In my mind, they were deep. We were probably talking about the most random, like my daughters talk to me. But letting them express themselves, having some type of emotion is huge. Because I think this is just part one. I want to get some experts and hear what they say. But I think expressing themselves gives children more freedom, and I think it makes them more comfortable in relationships. And what I mean by that is, I think one of the huge problems in the black community when we're talking about romance is communication. I mean, I know that might be for all ethnicities, but I know mine. So from the households I saw, it's a lack of communication. It's a fear of being yourself. It's a fear of expressing yourself or not knowing how to express yourself. But I don't know. This is just page one. I think next time I want to ask some of these questions to some professionals that I know. I want to bring them on. Let's talk about this. How are we raising these kids? Are we instilling fear? Are we stripping away our children's natural sense of exploration? Are we causing more harm than good? Will the way that we raise our children, or the way that we did raise our children, will that work in the future? Is it compatible with the future? Is it preparing them for today's society? Are we leaving our kids emotionally sound